Barbara. It's a foggy day, but it's gonna burn off. This is the first ever Hillclimb World Championships. So I was a national champion last year. I may or may not lose that in just a few minutes. The women have an incredible world-class field. We've got Margot Klein, Mara Abbott, Amy Vassie, Leah Thorvaldsen. For the men, we've got all the local legends. We got Jason Peterson's here. Chef Jeff Mahan has decided not to race with the chef. He wants to have at it with the pros. And my main rival is one Pete Stetna from Trek Factory, who is a real professional, unlike me. Pete is in his off season. Pete is he's been drinking. He's been not training. We're gonna see if Pete at his very worst can beat me at my very best right now. That is the game. Pete has come out in favor of oatmeal raisin. And he has a good villainous mustache. So this is about everything. It's NorCal versus SoCal. It's oatmeal raisin versus chocolate chip. That's what I'm trying to tell myself until he beats me. So welcome to the video. This is now you see why this took a while for this video to get posted. I wanted to do it right, and I had a cool idea for how to tell the Hillclimb World Championship story. Which is we kind of got the top pros in the race, and we cameraed them up, and now you can see the perspective from all four of these dudes as we go, and while I do a little play-by-play. So that was the start. You just saw the right turn right into the bottom of Gibraltar Road. We had a neutral start, which was about 40 minutes or so from the staging area, which was right by the beach. So the cameras you're looking at, top left is me, yours truly. Top right is Peter Stetna, World Tour Real Pro, rides for Trek Factory Racing, Trek Segafredo. It's that one. Yeah, these teams change too much, you know. And then below me, so bottom left is Stefano Barberi, good friend and pro mountain biker. And then bottom right is Jesse Anthony, who at this point is riding for Rally Pro Cycling, but has recently joined the dark side of retirement. So that's what we're looking at. And everyone has power here except for Jesse. And you'll see this start right here is why this is why I can get the KOMs that races happen in. So the KOM for this climb, Gibraltar Road, was set during the Tour of California by Egan Bernal, riding for Sky. He won the stage. That's how it works when you get a KOM. At least you get to win the stage. And he was like 27 minutes or something, like maybe mid 27s. My PR is 29. So you can see, like, I'm sitting up, I'm accelerating, I'm looking around. That's where you lose time. So in a KOM scenario, in worst retirement ever, I'm making these little time trials of each one, and you 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 2 seconds, you gain, and it adds up a lot. So you're also looking, if you look at the bottom left screen, or the bottom right, I'm sorry, the guy on the left is Ned Overend, who I didn't know was coming to this, and then I just saw him at the start. And Ned Overend is a American cycling legend, Hillclimb legend. He and I were duking out on Mount Washington back in 2008, 2009, one of those, maybe both. Super cool to see him showing up to my fledgling Hillclimb event, which is still a world championship. Tell me it's not, and find a different world championship. So at this point, at the bottom, I just want to sort of see how things shake out. I want to separate the pack. I don't want any jostling. I want to even things up. So I'm just setting a good hard pace to see who can sort of hang on. So you see right behind me is local Jason Peterson, who's super fast, talented rider. He kills me on the group rides. And we're all looking around, and you can see other categories are coming down or by the side of the road. So the way we kind of formatted this was I wanted it to be spectator friendly. This is Jesse's coming off. So Jesse didn't actually want to do this, and this is my friend doing me a favor. So bottom right, a couple guys are saying, "All right, Jesse, we're tired of you. We're gonna go ahead." And Jesse is gonna keep riding, but say goodbye to the race win. Meanwhile, I'm trying to look around. I'm like, all right, what do you got, Pete? Oh, and Pete Stetna attacks on the right side. Pete Stetna goes for it, And here's where I'm like, okay, that's what a World Tour attack looks like. I don't get to see that too much. And I got to be honest, I don't miss seeing that. It's not fun to see skinny, fast guys like Pete Stetina do their thing. But I was able to get him back. So here's the part that I like about this is that Pete is in his off season. This is October, and I don't have an off season because I don't have a season. So Pete has been. If you want to be really good, if you want to peak, you have to trough. That's a metaphor for life, but it's definitely true in bike racing. And this event happened in Pete's trough. It wasn't on purpose. That was just when I could make the thing with my Fondo coming up. But so Pete sent as a guy, like he was at the front of the race when I was not even in the race. Like I was at the back, in the middle of the race. Definitely a notch ahead of me in the pro bike scene. But this is a time of year where I'm probably, when all the pros take a month off, I might actually be one of the best climbers in the world. And I get to take advantage of that at my own Hillclimb. It was super cool of Pete to even come here and throw down, to be honest, because this isn't good for your training to take time off and then blast yourself. Both of us, I think, thought he would beat me, but we were going to make a race out of it. So here, Pete attacked. He went for it, and he caused some separation, and Jesse's stopped. Jesse, what are you doing, buddy? That's okay. If you bottom left, you can see another battle is brewing, which is Stefano Barberi, and then James Walker, who's a local, super talented climber. He's another guy who smashes me on the group rides. And it's super fun dude I was stoked he showed up here too. So we have me and Pete up the road, and we're doing our thing, and I'm just keeping the pressure on. It's 6 to 8%. There's some drafting, but not really drafting, and I know how to pace myself. I'm not giving Pete much of a free ride, and I'm not on the flatter bits. I'm not giving it everything, but now it's a little tack. Here's a little tack. Here's where I'm like, all right, Pete, you attacked once, and I responded, and now let's see what happens. And not a whole lot happened, but usually it's so funny because this is the reverse of how the bike races went. If I had the fortune to be close to Pete when he was attacking, it went the other way. But he's there. He's solid. He's on the wheel. And man, we're still kind of early in this. So we got a time ahead of us, but I'm still hitting it as hard as I can on this. So in the back, Jesse is enjoying his time. At some point he makes an appearance later. We have to figure that out. I'll get to the bottom of this. Jesse's day is not entirely over. But as you can see, this, it's a little bit surgy. It's a little bit, this isn't a time trial pace. This is looking around. It's saving energy on the flats. It's kicking it on the fast parts. It's looking around. I'm like, all right, Pete, take a pull, which is not a nice thing to do after you attack. And Pete's like, no, I'm not going to pull. Why would I pull? And I'm like, fine, I will hydrate then. I will just drink. That was what was going through my head. I was like, fine, I'll hydrate and I'll go right back to the front. So now, we're in it, and there's a good group back here. They're working smooth, on the Stefano screen. They're working together. They're swapping pulls. They're keeping the pressure on. I think they're hoping me and Pete blow each other up, which is entirely possible. I don't know what my abilities are this time of year, and neither does Pete. And we were having fun out there. If you're not familiar with this climb, this is Gibraltar Road, and we have an attack. Sorry, I'm interrupting myself with Pete throwing down on this little steep section here. Now he's trying to crack me. This isn't for the cameras. I mean, the cameras were there, but we were definitely being mean to each other. There was good smack talk leading up to this, which I always love. I'm probably better at smack talk than I ever was at racing. But we took full advantage, and Pete totally played along. In fact, I think he initiated it. I think he started the smack talk. I think I kind of used up all my smack talk on Fabian Cancellara this year, and then Pete poked it, and there we go. Also note that Pete wore the number. He pinned the number on his jersey, which I don't think, did I put a number on? Probably not. Yeah, I did. I put a number on my own race. I got number 161. Isn't that my own race? I couldn't get number 1. I don't know who's in charge of that. It wasn't me, or I would have done it right. But so we're swapping pulls here. We're trying to make sure we get a good distance from the other dudes. It's still a steady grade. Gibraltar, it's 7. It's just 7. It's 6. It's 7. It's 9. And there's my attack. Now I'm kind of like, all right, this is it. Let's see what we got. And I'm yelling at the camera motorcycle to scoot out of the way here. It might look like I'm drafting, but there's no drafting at 9%, I promise you. And now the motorcycle got out of the way. So I put some distance on Pete. That was my surge, and I got the gap I wanted. And now Pete is like thinking about all the beers he was drinking, as you're supposed to in off season, and I'm thinking about all the intervals that I did because I don't have anything else going on. And now we settle in. Jesse Anthony has gone dark. What's Jesse up to? I don't know. It's hard to imagine what Jesse could possibly be doing. But so now you see other guys coming down. So like I said, the format of this, and next year we're just gonna have like a Fondo category. The idea that I wanted for the Hillclimb was race at the front and party at the back. So we had all the age groups. I wanted to just sort of be a fun challenge for most people. We're at 6K to go. There's a lot of hill left, which is bad news for the guy who's solo. Fitness or not, that's just a long way to be chugging along. I gotta keep a real pro at bay for a good 15-20 minutes. But so that was the idea was race at the front, party at the back. It was a bike race mullet. That was the joke. And it worked, and people, like the people who weren't racing, still had a really good time. But but I sort of thought that next year it would just be smarter. Now I'm entering Cookie Corner. This is sacred ground for me. I pick up a few watts in Cookie Corner. Cookie Corner, if you're familiar, this is where a lot of things started with my cookie silliness. When I was my last year racing, we'd started the Fondo. I'm on a tangent. Look, I got to talk through this for half an hour. You got to deal with it. Those are my hands with my thumb loop. The thumb loop is critical in speed suit technology. As Pete enters the Cookie Corner, and Stefano and Jason swap pulls and work together and crack each other. You know what? They're not far behind us. They're right there at Cookie Corner still. So I didn't realize they were that close, man. They're not messing around. So that's Cookie. So year one of Phil's Fondo, the Tour of California raced up. So I was still racing, but we were planning to put on this first LA Fondo thing, and the way that we decided to announce it, launch it, market it was my friends would do a Cookie Corner on Gibraltar during the Tour of California. So like all my buddies came up and they just chalked the road and got some inflatable cookies and did their thing. And it was like a big day for me in my finger quotes here career as a pro cyclist, where I had, if you read my book, you'll understand, you'll remember this part, but the team I was already on my way out. I could feel it that I wasn't going to get re-signed. I was kind of going to the Tour of California. It was like a big race that I got to do, but I wasn't, I got sent to Roubaix, and not a lot of like stage races in Europe. I was on the list to be axed, and I felt it. And the team on this day, we had Ben King in yellow. So Ben had won the stage going into Santa Clarita, and my job was to ride the front and just pull and do the kind of donkey work. And going into it. And I knew I was better than donkey work, but the team director didn't care, and was just, you go to you do that thing, you put, like, anybody can do that job. It's not that hard to ride the front going into the bottom of the climb, but the kind of the guys on the team sort of had a talk with me, and they're like, no, as Stefano attacks James, Stefano's going for it at the bottom, but Andrew Talansky was like, he's team leader, and he called it on the road. He's like, Phil, you're not pulling at the bottom. We're going to save you for the climb. And I smashed that climb. So here's Pete. Stefano has bridged up to Pete Stetina. So the race for the podium is still real. Stefano's going at it, and Pete's like, oh man, I cracked. I better recover here. I better find something. Because he didn't want to lose this. He still got that fire. There's you're pro for a reason. You don't, no matter what kind of a day you're on, you don't give up. But so for me on the Gibraltar stage, I went crazy at the bottom, and I went as hard as I could, and it was the best power file of my life. I think somebody can look this up, and I think I did like 4:20 for half an hour or something nuts. It might have even been better than that. But it was one of my best efforts of my life, and it's for somebody else. I swung off basically at Cookie Corner, so I pulled the pack. There were some attacks and some guys kind of around the mountain, but I was kind of leading the front group going into Cookie Corner. It was a very weird, emotional. I'm just gonna keep laughing at myself. So Gibraltar, and since then Tour of Cali raced Gibraltar again in 2018. It seems like they're doing every other year on this climb. Santa Barbara, I learned, is not an incredibly easy place to put on an event. They're a fancy, Oprah lives there. They don't need the riffraff in the tights. But you can see why they don't, they've got it going on. So Stefano and Pete exchanged some words. I'm sure all super polite and hunky-dory. As I stay in the zone. Now I'm getting up to Velofix. So Velofix set up their own little spot to spectate and cheer. And this part was great. This was like the people from the other categories. And next year we'll have the Fondo category, and you don't have to even pretend you're racing. We're just going to separate that and own it. But the idea is people who do the Fondo category, who do the age group thing, they come up, they finish theirs, and on the way down they stop and they can cheer on the pros. It's a rule for every category, and this was for myself included. When you turn around, you have to, on the way down, you have to stop to cheer on the other categories. That's a mandatory rule in Hillclimb World Championships. As Stefano gives another go on Pete, and Pete says, "I'm not going anywhere." And I say, "Ow, is it over yet?" I know exactly that it's a long way from Cookie Corner, and we're gonna just go ahead and call this Velofix Corner. They normally do, they're usually around to fix the bikes. On this date, they came to make the party, and they nailed it. Look at the nice crew out here to cheer. Nice view of the ocean. You can't complain about that. That's not true. I can complain about anything. The temperature was perfect that day. Sometimes it gets a little cold up there, especially in the winter. You might want a jacket. Top of Gibraltar. Meanwhile, I'm still curious. Where's Jesse Anthony? What happened to Jesse Anthony? We'll see. So yeah, here we are. Good old Gibraltar. I did have a fear that we would need to bring jackets to the top. And the week of the event, I talked to my business partner. I was like, "Oh, we got to get some blankets or a way to transport jackets up there." And he looked away. He's like, "Shut up. No, you don't." And he was right. You don't, it's hard to put on an event. Everything, things could go wrong. I was stressed about a lot of stuff that week, but it came together for at least around 30 minutes here. Stetina and Pete are in a full-on war. Stefano's not having. He's being aggressive. He's throwing down. And this does well for me when they're sort of attacking and surging and hurting each other. That just kind of makes it a little easier for me to keep a steady pace and a steady gap, and or maybe a growing gap at this point. It's sort of they could work together to chase me. which that's sort of hard to do at pace. And they're both kind of keeping an eye on, well, I want second. So neither one wants to commit too hard to the chase, and I'm up the road, yelling yeehaw. Here Pete takes a pull, but he's not committed. He's looking back. I think they're kind of just racing for second. I think they're kind of okay. They know that they could see I'm feeling good up there, and they're doing their thing. And I'm up. We got the good video photographer dudes up the road. They did a killer job all week. That was the main thing. Is first year event. It's sort of hard to show what it is and how much fun it's going to be. So my strategy as an event person was, okay, we'll do it and we'll make sure everyone can see it. So that's what you're watching here. I really put a lot of time into making this video work. I rented, I think, like 20 cameras. Well, you don't have to rent them. YouTube hooked me up with some cameras, which was super nice of them, and I GoPro'd everybody. And we got my buddy here on the motorcycle. By the way, I'm recording this in a very sweaty hotel room in Mexico. I turned the fan off to not mess up the sound, and it's nasty in here. I need a shower from recording a video. I never would have thought. Stefano takes another pull. I think Stefano wants to chase me, to be honest. I think he wants to throw down and work together, and I think Pete sort of saw my attack and wants to save his legs and wants to make sure he locks up second. And James Walker still in the mix too. James has been sitting on the back of these two, but he's like a shark back there. He's like a little vegan shark, just ready to pound. Well, the sharks don't pounce. What do they do? Bite? I don't know. He's ready to just let these guys wear themselves out, trying to kill each other, and then cruise away. And I've seen the prowess of James. He might weigh 120 pounds. I wouldn't be surprised if it's less. But he goes uphill nice. Whereas Stefano, mountain biker now, which makes you kind of an all-rounder in the pro mountain bike scene. You sort of got to be good at everything. And Pete, definitely a climber. That's GC guy kind of thing. He still has to time trial, which I've definitely retired from that move. Here James kind of comes to the front to take a pull, but he doesn't want to commit either. Now we're cruising. I wish you guys could see the view here. The Gibraltar, it's so special because it comes special. It's so special because it just comes right up from the coast, and you can see the ocean the entire way. Like every one of those ridges. None of us are enjoying it at this point. You don't enjoy much over 300 watts, but it's there. And it's like, look at this narrow road. There's no yellow line. There's like 10 houses on here. And there's really people hiking, and there's mountain bike trails. Santa Barbara is not a real place. It's a magical. I did an episode of Worst Time Ever on Gibraltar. You can check that out, and I sort of talk about Santa Barbara a little bit. It's 2 hours from LA. It's where you go when you've made your money and you don't need to live in LA anymore, but you like the whole SoCal vibe thing. Oprah. She doesn't need to. She can helicopter in to do whatever. I don't know what she does, but there should be a helicopter involved or something cooler. Never would have thought Oprah would come up so much in this Hillclimb video. I'll think of other Santa Barbara celebrities. No, I won't. I got nothing. The other cool stuff we did for this hill climb, I'd been talking about this forever. Like I was always bothered by the whole podium girl thing, and there was a point where I don't think this was my idea, but I jumped on it when I heard it. I don't know whose idea it was, and Stefano attacks again. Stefano throws down. Pete glued to it. just glued. Is Stefano going too deep? Pete's doing 550 watts. That's a lot for anyone. It's a lot for someone who's 140 pounds, and it's sustained. We're still over 500. Stefano not playing around, and neither's Pete. I'm up here. I apologize. I didn't calibrate my power meter. You probably noticed that by now. I'm doing more than 300 this whole time. And look, it's Jesse Anthony. What's he doing? How did Jesse get back there? What is Jesse doing? Who gave him a ride up the hill? I don't understand. So his screen went black, and he hitched a ride, or he teleported. There is no shortcut, and Pete goes. Pete attacks. Jesse's running next to me. You can't tell from the camera, but he's heckling hard and legit. And I really enjoyed it. And Pete has taken advantage of Stefano's attack. He launched off of it, and he put a little distance, but not that much. Stefano's right there. Stefano was racing for that result, and he risked it. He gambled, and there it is. So now we can sort of see exactly how much time I have until we get to Jesse, or did we just pass Jesse? I might have missed him. But so the other idea that I was super into with this was we didn't have podium girls. We had podium puppies. That was, I tried to connect with the Santa Barbara Humane Society. I actually did get to work with them. There's not Jesse, that's somebody else. The idea, what I wanted was a puppy from the local animal shelter to lick the winner. Santa Barbara Humane Society was into it, but they didn't have any puppies. So look at me hydrating. So they didn't have any puppies, and so I said, okay, can you just show up and I'll get a puppy from someone else? And they're like, sure. And then so that they came and they presented the dog. It wasn't, it's just remember that humane societies exist, and that can be the message, rather than the actual podium puppy thing. So the shout out to my friend Dick Lamb, who provided his dog, who you'll meet later, which is not a puppy, but got the point across. People with the Santa Barbara Humane Society polo shirts were kind enough to spend the morning, a bright Friday morning, with us, and lift little Gracie. That's the dog's name. Just not small. So all the gaps have sort of solidified now. We've got me up the road. At this point, I know I've got it, but I still have to finish it, and I'm suffering. This is all I got. I know there's a couple more bends, and then it really kicks at the end. It's mean at the end. Pete has put some time on Stefano, and Stefano is just trying to keep it steady. Where's James? James isn't far. I don't know. We didn't camera up James. I think I tried to, and he had some kind of fancy bar stem thing that I couldn't hook a camera up to. And there's Jesse. Gets to heckle Pete. I got to figure out how Jesse got up there. It's magical. Obviously he got into someone's car, but did you guys see a car pass? And he had his bike and everything. He was at the start. That was him at the start. And here James and Jason Peterson have now attacked Stefano. So Jason was lurking back there. We had a vegan shark and then an omnivore shark in Jason Peterson, and Jason's going for it. Jeez, I had no idea this was going on back here. That looks ugly. Jason with some distance. Jason was when Pete first went. Jason and I were the ones who responded. Jason is fit and going in for it. So Jason, I believe he won the Cat 2 San Dimas stage race, which is all about just winning the uphill time trial. So not a slouch as Jesse texts and rides. You guys all saw that, right? He's texting and riding. That's irresponsible. Probably against UCI rules. Now we have proof. So I don't know if you guys want to report him, get him suspended or something. I don't think it would bother him. You probably shouldn't worry about it. But James doing the work here to keep Jason in sight, as I'm almost with the finish in sight. Stefano jumps James. Stefano all in as I round what I believe is the last bend. Yeah, that's the finish line yonder if you're looking at the top left. So I'm getting there. I'm feeling it. I'm emptying the tank, but I'm also, thinking about the celebration. I'm looking over my shoulder to make sure there's no Stetness coming. As James jumps Stefano, trying to find Jason. Where's Jason up there? You better hurry up, James. So you're almost at the end. Stefano, a valiant race. Stefano did the thing. He's racing for the best result, and he rolled all the dice. And this is what happens. Other guys benefited from Stefano's effort, and now he kind of gets to pay for it. But head held high at the end of this. He left it out there, which is that's who Stefano is. As I'm cruising into the finish with Hillclimb World Championships banner, and that's a good shadow. It's a good shadow, and a good crowd. And I'm now currently effed. It's funny because is it a real race? Is it not a real race? It sure felt like a real race. That's Alexis Ryan on the camera. That is an actual pro cyclist who photographed for fun, and I just went black. That's actually, my screen went black. That's actually how I feel. So that's appropriate. And now we have Pete coming to the line for second. And Stefano getting up there, still putting in a strong effort. He's not going to catch these other dudes, but he's not sitting up either. He's gonna cruise in for his best time. And Pete, I think Pete's over it. He's gonna get up there. He knows his gap is safe. But he might be looking back and seeing James is probably right over there. James and Jason are right there. Yep, yeah, that's Pete thinking like, oh crap, I have to sprint now. I actually do. That's 450 watts. That's a World Tour dude thinking, all right, I'm gonna get this home. He already got beat by one retired guy. That's it. We'll let it go there. That's it for the men's race. Thanks for racing, gentlemen. Thank you guys for watching. Join us next year. It's a party. It's a challenge, and it's a good time, and it's a race. It's whatever you want it to be. It's all those things. And you know what? I'm a world champion. Deal with it. And if you don't think I am, come prove it. It's open for you. All right. Well, we're gonna do the women's race also. So check that out. And yeah, see you next year. Eat some cookies.
Down, yeah, hospitality. It's American style. Yeah.
Now, what's your favorite kind of cookie?
I'm not gonna lie.
Look at the camera. Tell the world.
Absolutely love oatmeal raisin.
Oh.
I order it every time I see it. The only one better is the kitchen sink cookie when you have all the crap in it.
It's like flaxseed and apple.